All right, ladies and gents, now it's time for our water test analysis. So this sounds like a really simple test, and it is, but it actually can tell us a lot about the soil. So you see on our left, we have our crime scene. On our right, we have our suspect. We've filled both beakers so that the 50 milliliter line with distilled water. Now, the purpose of the water analysis test is to actually be used as a density separation test. Organic materials will float to the top, while mineral materials will sink to the bottom. We're also going to look for a color change in the water and see how much material is actually suspended in the water. So when we make our analysis, we're literally looking at how much organic material floats to the top, how much mineral sinks to the bottom, and the color and how much material is suspended in the water itself. So I'm going to have my two assistants, James and Liam, add 2 half-a gram scoops of the soil to each beaker. So go ahead, boys. Very good. 1. And another one. And that, Liam. And go, buddy. Just toss it right in. Tap it up. Perfect. And then we're just going to give them a little bit of a swirl. Like so, just to mix it up a bit.
Wow.
Like so. Now, and the best way to compare them is actually right as they are side by side. We'll get down on the level. So you notice the one on the right has a lot more floating material in it. The color of the water is about the same if we look at it side by side. Both kind of dark with some material kind of suspended. But definitely a lot more organic material on the right floating in the top. We'll take a look from the top itself. So our suspect, you can see a lot of organic material floating at the top of the water with our crime scene. There's a bit, but not nowhere near as much, and the particles on the left are a bit larger than those on the right. As I said, the color of the water is fairly similar. It's maybe a little bit darker with our suspect sample than with our crime scene sample. And if we look at the bottom, the one on the left tends to be a little bit darker, whereas the one on the right, it's a bit more of a brown color. So it's kind of a dark gray or black almost color on the left versus a very dark brown color to the material on the bottom on the right. So once again, our crime scene sample, some organic material floating, not as much as our suspect sample. Our crime scene sample, a decent amount of suspended material in the water itself, but not quite as much as our suspect sample. And then our crime scene sample, once again, darker material on the bottom, not quite as much as our suspect sample, and the suspect sample is definitely a much more of a brown color versus a kind of dark gray color for our crime scene sample. So make sure you record that material in your data sheets, and then we'll move on to our HCl acid mineral test for calcite.